Hello and welcome to Faithfully Stampin' with Jennifer Helm. I am Jennifer Helm, the Faithful Stamper, and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! I have for you today a fun technique. It is a little different than something you might have seen recently on my page. It is called a one-sheet wonder. And a one-sheet wonder is where you take one piece of designer series paper and then you cut it into pieces and then you make multiple cards with it. You can do that with a 6x6 or a 12x12, some even 8.5 by 11. Today's technique is going to be a 6x6 one-sheet wonder, and I'm going to show you how to make 3 cards very quickly using one sheet of 6x6 paper along with a couple pieces of cardstock. And then I'm also going to show you how you can take this idea and turn it into you can kind of stretch it a little bit. So this is a springboard to kind of get your creativity going and hopefully just get those wheels turning. I love this card. I was not really in the mood to make cards the other night when I started these. And once I got my paper picked out and stamp set, boy, did the wheels get turning. And I ended up making almost 30 different cards with this same technique. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started and I'll show you how to do it. First of all, I'm going to show you a technique, not a technique, a template. And so if you've got a phone handy, you can take a screenshot. I like to have one of these handy. I keep a notebook where I do little card sketches and keep my templates, so if I ever need to refer back to it, I have it. So this is just one of many 6x6 one-sheet wonders. I haven't done this particular one before, at least not that I remember. So it's very simple. We're just going to cut 3 times. So we've got our 6x6 piece of paper. We're going to make our first cut at 4 1/4. That is going to leave us with a strip that's 1 3/4 by 5 1/2. Actually by 6, and we're just going to cut 1/2 inch off the bottom here, and that'll give us the strip that's 5 1/2 inches tall. And then from this chunk that's left over, we're just going to cut it right in half. So we have 2 pieces that are 4 1/4 by 3. And I'm going to show you real quick now how to do that. Okay, so here's my paper trimmer and then a piece of designer series paper. Just keep in mind when you're cutting, if you've got directional paper, that you'll have 2 going in one direction, and then the third panel is going to be different. The direction of the paper will stay the same, but how you use it on the card will be different. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so 6x6 paper, measured to 4 1/4. One cut gives you these 2 panels. First of all, I'm going to turn this one sideways and cut it at 3 inches. So that 6x6 height, cut in half. 2 that are 4 1/4 by 3. And then from this last strip, I'm just going to turn it and take 1/2 inch off the bottom. I also love about this technique, this is the only waste that I have. I could probably come up with something to do with this, but I'm not. I'm actually going to throw this away. So, that is all we need our paper trimmer for. Next up, we'll need some card bases. There is no set card base that you need for these. The way I choose to do it is I have one that is, this is called the kind of hamburger layout. I'll have to look up sometime and see who came up with these, but they call this the hamburger design for a card base, kind of short and squat, especially when you fold it. There is also the hot dog, which is kind of the long skinny. Again, don't ask me who came up with this, but you don't have to have 1 and 2. They can all be like this. They can all be the hot dog style. Absolutely 100% up to you and what you want to do. So I'm going to fold my 2 hot dog ones in half, and then the long hamburger one as well. Fold on, I pre-scored them. So first of all, we're going to start with the strip of cardstock. You do not need any special glue for this. You just have to remember where you put your adhesive. Oh, good grief, it was right in front of my nose. If you could have seen it, you would have been yelling at me. It's right there, practically under my hand. Oh, I've had that trouble all day today. All right, so adhesive of choice for this card technique, you can use liquid glue, tear and tape, tape runner, So I'm going to put the long strip along the bottom of the card base. You could always put it up top if you prefer. Absolutely up to you. So I'm going to set this to the side. Then I have my 2 panels that are 4 1/4 by 3. I'm going to go ahead and put adhesive on both of these. And then the first one I'm going to put at the top. So here's my fold at the top. And then the second one I'm going to put at the bottom. If you goof up like I did as I was putting my samples together and you end up with 2 at the bottom or 2 at the top, it's okay. Don't fret. Keep on rolling. All right, so here are our card bases. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a strip of cardstock to each of the cards. So this one is 1/2 inch by 5 1/2, and then I have 2 that are 4 1/4 by 1/2 inch. And you could use embossed cardstock for this. You could use coordinating DSP if you like. And it's up to you if you want to cover up any of the DSP or put it right up against the top of it. Absolutely, again, 100% your decision. And again, adhesive of choice for these. I always try to make sure with my narrow strips that I get glue all the way to the ends, but not all over the place. All right, so 1 and 2. Next up, we're going to decorate the front of the cards. The stamp set I am using for my cards today is the new Embraced with Love stamp set. This is part of our new holiday mini catalog, which just came out about a week ago. You can check everything out online here at thefaithfulstamper.stampinup.net. Also, it's currently September 2024. We have a brand new scrapbooking brochure that is online only. It's about 20 pages long. If you are a scrapbooker, go check it out. There's paper, there's stamp sets, there's ephemera packs, just 20 pages of goodness for scrapbooking. So be sure to check that out online. Okay, so I chose to decorate the front of my card using squares. You can do any shape that you like, but I have Night of Navy squares that are 3 inches. And then to that, I'm going to add white, basic white squares that are 2 3/4 inch square. And these again can be any size. I went with kind of a basic size that fit the stamps that I wanted to use. So I have Night of Navy ink, and then I'm just gonna stamp one of each of these designs. I think these are those cute little red pandas. If you are doing one single stamp, or you don't have to have an image, you could do words, like a large greeting. For example, sending hugs, that's what I'm putting on the inside of these cards. This will go even faster because I'm taking the time to stamp 3 individual stamps. So again, you could do this even faster than I am. But aren't these images cute? I couldn't just pick one. All right. Now, before I adhere these to the navy, let's see, this one I'm not going to stamp on. This one I'm going to leave clean. And then I'm going to put some words here on this stamp. So I've got Feel Better Soon. I needed to add some Get Well cards to my inventory. So, perfect. That's why I went with this stamp set, besides the fact that it was really cute. It suited my purposes as well. I like to think smarter, not harder. Also, what I want to do for this card here, this is where I'm going to put this adorable polar bear and his little bunny friend. And while this does say Get Well to me, I really think this says Christmas as well. He could be drinking a little cup of hot cocoa, so this would be cute with some holiday colored paper as well. So I'm going to stamp here on the card base itself. I don't normally do this, especially once I've already got paper glued down. But if I mess up, I think that'll do. It might be a smidge crooked. I could always cover it up and stamp again over here and hope one of the two worked. But there we go. Okay, I'm gonna move that ink out of the way for the moment. I meant to stamp that in Misty Moonlight, but it's okay, not a problem. All right, so these three guys are gonna get turned over and adhesive on the backs of these. And again, you can use any shape, you could use die cuts. So there is 1, 2, and 3. All right, so I decided this one is gonna go with this layout. I used all my dimensionals over the weekend at a craft workshop, and they're all packed, so pardon me while I peel the backing off all my mini dimensionals. I love having both sizes, but typically I would use the large ones for projects like this. All right, so for this layout, I could have, if I didn't have the word stamped, I could have put this right in the middle. You can go one side or the other, up to you. As I said, lots of options with these. I really like to take these and just see where my creativity goes. I'm gonna show you in one of the, I think I ended up with 18 samples. So look, I went from not wanting to make cards to making an abundance of cards. But I kind of also like when that happens, because then I feel like I got a lot accomplished. I just have mini dimensional backings everywhere. Okay. Again, you could, for this, you can raise or lower. I wouldn't go too low, but I could keep it kind of centered or raise it up a little bit. Anything that strikes your fancy. All right, so just to finish these real quickly, I'm not gonna do the insides today, just to keep this moving, but I'm gonna add some bling. So these are one of our new embellishments, and I think they're gonna be a favorite of mine. Basic Gray and Smoky Slate Pearls. You can see I've used a lot already. Smoky Slate is kind of the first and third set, and then Basic Gray, the little bit darker, first and third, and then Smoky Slate, second and fourth. And I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool, just trying to hide from me here, and just add some embellishment. I love my Take Your Pick tool because it saves me getting the pearls or whatever it is I'm using stuck to my fingernails. I might start off strong, but then they're everywhere. They're either stuck to my fingernails or I'm flicking them all over the room. And I hate it when I flick them across the room. All right, 1, 2, last one here. Let's see. Sometimes the hardest part of these cards is deciding where I want to put my embellishment. Whoop. And I think like that. So 1, 2, 3 cards done pretty quickly, just like that. This is great for mass producing because if one sheet of 6x6 gives you 3 cards, you can get 4 of these from a 12x12 and make 12 cards just like that. And depending on your paper, as I said, great for any occasion. I'm thinking a masculine print. I mean, this is pretty close. You could make very quick and easy masculine birthday, sympathy, get well cards from one sheet of paper. All right, so as you know, if you've watched this channel before, I like to give you options. Sometimes I joke that my tagline should be all about the options. So here I made 2 cards that were vertical in orientation and one that was horizontal. You can switch that up depending on how you cut your paper and the kind of paper you use, whether it's directional or not. So for example, I have the long skinny stripe turned sideways for this card, and then these 2 cards turned this way. So same layout, just different looks. And look at these. Look at this cute little set that I've got. These just make me happy. Oops, sorry, not quite on the page. All right, so these were, you can see the options, and you can really dress these up if you want or keep them simple. I chose not to do it, but I could have added, like if I had a punch with leaves and it was appropriate, I could have tucked them behind for a little added embellishment on the cards. All right, so moving ahead to other samples, I stepped into the holidays for a moment. Halloween is coming, so I always like to have some new Halloween cards. So here, oops, I lost a gem. I'll have to go back and put a new gem on. So here is an orange set. So you can mix and match your cardstock colors. It doesn't have to be all the same. You can stamp on the card to embellish. You could very easily add ribbon, bows, twine bows. But these are some of our new stamp sets. These are the Playful Ghosts. And actually, this is our zinnia paper, which you can find online. Not Halloween at all, but great Halloween colors, especially paired with a little Granny Apple Green. And I like the stamp set so much, I wanted to play with it, so I did a set in Blackberry Bliss as well. So again, you can see different shapes. These are more rectangles than squares, high or low. And here I added a little banner, so you can embellish the front with whatever you like. Stepping away from Halloween, I've got some Christmas cards. So this uses one of our new papers from the Holiday Mini Catalog. This is our Sentimental Christmas suite with the paper and coordinating stamp set. You can see I stamped images here. Get that a little closer to the camera so you can see. You could also, really, you could mix and match paper if you wanted to keep it very simple and not have a lot of stamping on the front of your cards. And here I use circle punches instead of the squares. And there's the inside of my card as well. Great way to mass produce Christmas cards. And this is simple, but it's not boring. And I love that. I love when you can take a simple idea and the paper can really do a lot of the work for you, and then accent with some stamps, and they're beautiful cards. Things don't have to be complicated. Is it fun to make complicated cards sometimes? Absolutely, but sometimes you just want to get crafting, right? Like I said, I went from not wanting to make cards to making a ton of cards. All right, so these last two sets are probably my favorite. I needed some anniversary cards for my stash. I'm running low on them. So our Wildflower paper is one of my favorites, and I really I've been pairing it a lot with blues and pinks. I love it with the early espresso cardstock. Here I coordinated, instead of cardstock strips, I used Designer Series paper strips that I had. My paper was not 6x6, it was kind of like a 7x8 chunk, so I cut it down to 6x6, and then I had some extra strips left over, so I went ahead and put them on my cards. And here I used our Heartfelt Hexagon Punch, which is a favorite of mine. And as I said, I love this paper, and I can't decide which print is my favorite, so I also made this set using some pre-cut crumb cake circles that I had, and then a piece of basic beige cardstock as well. So this is now a nice little addition to my anniversary card stash. And I've got baby ideas in mind. I've got some old DSP that's pinks and blues and greens and yellows, and I can picture that with a shape on the front layered and either baby onesies or little baby images that I'm gonna color in, and it's a really quick and simple way to add to any category of card that I have. All right, so there we have our quick one-sheet wonder. I hope you enjoyed the technique. There are a zillion one-sheet wonders out there with different designs, so it's great that there are so many options for us. And whoop, I think I grabbed different sets, but that's okay. You get the idea. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the page, I'd love to have you here as a subscriber. You can click the notification bell if you'd like to be notified when a video goes live here on the page. You can also find me over on Facebook as The Faithful Stamper. I share a lot of different incentives or specials that Stampin' Up! Might be offering, and different project ideas. So I'd love to have you as part of my community there as well. Again, thank you so much for watching. Take care and happy crafting.